It's now my great honor and pleasure to introduce this year's commencement speaker, Ellen Goldsmith-Vein. Ellen Goldsmith-Vein is a widely celebrated leader in the fields of entertainment, literary management, and film and television. Ellen Goldsmith-Vein is the founder and CEO of the Gotham Group, which is a global entertainment company anchored by its literary management practice, representing some of the most prolific, award-winning writers, directors, producers, publishers, and authors in film, television, publishing, journalism, and content creation across all genres. The Gotham Group has become a major force in film and television production, and has been widely known as the go-to for universally recognized and award-winning intellectual property. Gotham remains the only major management and production company in Hollywood owned solely by a woman. Very important. Yes. All right. Ellen Goldsmith-Vein serves on multiple advisory boards, including the Center for Scholars and Storytellers at UCLA, and was appointed by Mayor Karen Bass as the chair of the Entertainment Industry Council for the City of Los Angeles. Her producing credits include many films you likely know, such as the Spiderwick Chronicles, the Stargirl franchise on Disney, the Maze Runner film trilogy, the NAACP and AAFCA award-winning show of Wendell and Wild for Netflix, the Clint Eastwood-directed movie Juror No. 2, and Deliver Me From Nowhere, based on the book by Warren Zanes about Bruce Springsteen, starring Jeremy Allen White and Jeremy Strong. Her television and streaming credits include the multiple Emmy Award-winning Disney series Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Roku's award-winning Spiderwick Chronicles, Wandla on Apple TV+, and the Hulu limited series Washington Black, along with the Emmy-nominated animated series Creature Comforts. So quite a record. Ellen Goldsmith-Vein serves as an absolutely excellent example of the wide range of exciting career paths that are going to be available to many of you as you graduate with your degree in sociology from UCLA. Graduating with this degree from our program in 1993, Ellen has shown how to engage very effectively between the worlds of writing, Hollywood, and the business of entertainment. So with no further ado, esteemed guests, I present to you our keynote speaker for today, Ellen Goldsmith-Vein.
This is so exciting. I have several different pairs of glasses because I have to figure out which ones I can see better through. But before we do that, let's do a quick selfie just because. UCLA Sociology. Thank you all. Okay, I think these are going to be the winners. Thank you for having me here today. Good morning to Chair Walker, Vice Chairs Harris and Rossi, to the families, friends, and especially that proud mom. I think she's back in that direction, who's yelling, "That's my baby!" Thank you for inviting me to be here today. And to the graduates of the UCLA Sociology Department, class of 2025, I know other people have said it, but I am also going to congratulate you from the bottom of my heart. What an impressive group of students. You all have a degree in, let's be realistic, right? One of the most misunderstood and most powerful majors on campus. I remember when I was here, everyone would say to me, all my friends would say to me, what are you majoring in? And I would say sociology, and they would look at me like I had three heads. And I would say the ology of society. Anyway, I know you all were hoping that your keynote speaker today was going to be Taylor Swift or even Will Ferrell or Admiral McRaven, the guy who basically tells everybody that the key to success is simply making your bed every morning. Any scientist will tell you that's not accurate. It's better to air your bed out, okay? Let's get that out of the way. Anyway, I was actually shocked that Professor Walker asked me if I would give this address today to the sociology department, and I originally thought it was my colleagues punking me. So I went and I polled them, and I was like, are you guys trying to pull one over on me, making me think that I was asked to give this address to the sociology department? And they said, no, it wasn't us, but we should definitely announce this in the trades. Then I asked my kids, and they said, why did they ask you, Mom? Which I thought was, of course, a vote of confidence. And then my husband, who was actually really, truly a scholar with degrees from all kinds of very fine institutions, he's actually standing in the back videoing me, and he's got the Cal hat on. He was... He was also a little bit bemused, but he said, Ellen, they asked you because you're actually a pioneer in entertainment. And I thought about that for a minute. I'm almost certain that he said that because he thought, well, now I'm not going to have to walk the dogs or take out the trash or... Anyway, I was super surprised, and I called Professor Walker and I said, are you sure you were trying to reach me? And he said, oh, yeah, yes, and, you're a distinguished alumni. And I was, of course, I sort of started to get kind of impressed with myself. And then he said, but you know what, to be honest, if you can't do it this year, it's fine. You can do it next year. You can do it even, if you want to do it down the road, it's fine. And then I thought, well, he's obviously got offer remorse. Maybe he went and did more research on me or something. But anyway, I'm really honored to be here and to be with you all today. So Professor Walker kind of went through everything, but let me just quickly introduce myself to you guys in a way that I don't get the opportunity to often on Zooms and in pitch meetings and so forth. I'm Ellen Goldsmith-Vein, and I'm the CEO and founder of the Gotham Group, which is a management production company in Hollywood. And yes, we represent all kinds of creative voices. We also produce films and television. And I was very, very happy to, and not surprised actually, that you guys know Maze Runner, because I think that if these professors and your faculty would watch those films, they would realize that it is definitely a sociology experiment in the making, and should be part of the curriculum. Those are crazy movies, but I'm glad you guys saw them. We also do Percy Jackson, which I know many of you have read. And then we have this incredibly beautiful film coming out with Jeremy Allen White and Jeremy Strong called Deliver Me From Nowhere, which is about Bruce Springsteen and his making of this album, Nebraska, which was a consequential time in his life. Washington Black on Hulu, which stars Sterling K. Brown. The series premieres July 23rd on Hulu, so I hope y'all will tune in. Anyway, suffice it to say, if it's a character-driven story, we're in. So if anybody has ideas they want to pitch me, please feel free. I'll listen to any good idea. What most people don't know about me, though, is that before I ever set foot on a studio lot or read a script, I was a sociology major right here at UCLA. I was born and raised in sunny Southern California, and I went to public school in La Jolla, where I grew up, and I chose UCLA because I wanted a big, brilliant, slightly chaotic place where I could figure out who I was and what really captured my imagination. First, I didn't really know what I wanted to study. I just knew I wanted to understand people, why they do what they do, and what shapes them, and how the world works beneath the surface. Then I took my first sociology class, and it was like someone handed me a pair of glasses and said, here, now you can actually see. And I know that many of you, that you felt that way also. It sounds funny, but I mean, I'm really serious about that. It was like an eye-opening moment for me. Sociology really taught me, and many have mentioned this earlier, how to read a room, and not just emotionally, but structurally. taught me how systems create behavior, how narratives shape power, and how identities intersect in ways that really matter. It really did open my eyes, and it was, in short, the perfect training for the crazy world that is Hollywood. So here's what I've learned after decades of being in the entertainment business. You cannot tell meaningful stories without understanding the societies that they exist in. You cannot build a business or lead one, for that matter, without knowing how to read people, listen deeply, see around corners, and navigate the politics of power. In other words, you can't do Hollywood without knowing at least something about sociology. But I wanted to do even more than that. I wanted to tell meaningful stories, and I founded Gotham with a simple idea: champion and uplift bold and original voices and support emerging talent, and above all, tell diverse stories. I wanted to create a company that reflected the world and not just the part of it that gets invited to the premiere. So I started with a phone and a desk in my guest bedroom 33 years ago, representing a unique niche in the entertainment ecosphere that was creating really disruptive stuff with powerful messages, animation talent, including the creators of shows like Family Guy, The Simpsons, King of the Hill, Daria, Pinky and the Brain. I could go on and on and on. And then on the film side, working with everybody from people like Henry Selick, who directed Nightmare Before Christmas, to the brilliant talent in the UK at Aardman, who are the producers of Chicken Run, and many, many more. People thought I was completely bonkers, but I just kept moving forward because I knew there was something special there. No one was representing animation talent, and frankly, nobody really even cared about it. Everyone else was chasing actors and writers and directors, and I thought, you know what, let them go right ahead. While they are going right, I'm going to go left. And I willed it into being, and before long, we represented 90% of the talent in the animation business. 90%. And out of that business, Gotham has grown into the largest management company in Hollywood that is solely owned and operated by a woman. So yay girl power. But I've had a lot of obstacles in my path, and no surprise. And I honestly believe that my time here at UCLA studying sociology gave me the language and the tools that I needed to navigate this very competitive industry. Taught me to recognize bias, to ask why certain stories get greenlit while others are passed on, and to build a culture at my company where collaboration isn't just a buzzword, it's how we move forward. At Gotham, we talk all the time about the collective consciousness. So no, I don't run regression analysis on set, and I don't quote Durkheim, although I'm thinking I should probably do that more often. But I do use my degree every single day. Now let's talk about you. I know, finally. You've spent the last few years pulling back the curtain on systems, questioning norms, and realizing that neutral often isn't. You've learned to connect the dots and to speak up when something doesn't add up. And I encourage you to always speak your mind and always stand by your convictions and what you believe in. That's why I'm here. That's how I created my business and how I created my success. And that's how change on a small or large level happens. In early 1965, as our country was being ripped apart during the Civil Rights Movement, one of my heroes, the great John Lewis, led a procession of 600 protesters across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, right into the arms and billy clubs of awaiting police. He almost died that day, but his spectacular conviction would define his entire life. He would often say, I believe that you see something that you want to get done, you cannot give up, you cannot give in. That was how he lived. He willed things into being. I'm no John Lewis, but I have been deeply inspired by this philosophy. even though my husband always says to me, Ellen, you can't always will things into being. But this is what I do and how I have survived in the entertainment industry reasonably successfully for all this time. When someone would say to me, you'll never be in the movie business, you're the animation lady. I don't give it power, I will it into being. When someone says, this project is a pass for us, I don't give it power, I will it into being. When someone doesn't return my call or respond to my emails, I don't give it power and will what I want into being. At one point, very early on in my career, when I aspired to grow into producing, we had the rights to a graphic novel. That was a very hot piece of IP. Like everybody in town was chasing it. Somehow we managed to get it. And I got a call from this very powerful agent at one of the big agencies. And he had a director who wanted this graphic novel. And when I told him that we were actually attached to produce it, he sort of laughed and he said in this very sort of condescending way, let me tell you something. You're in the animation business. We're in the major motion picture business. You're never going to get this made. But you know what? I didn't give that power. I simply willed it into being. And we have been producing films and television across all genres ever since. Many years later, that powerful agent was let go from that big agency, and his first call was to us. And of course, I really enjoyed that. I know, it was crazy. Stuff like that happens all the time. But we didn't hire him, in case anybody was wondering. Anyway, with your awesome UCLA education, you have a great deal of power to will things into being. But what you have learned is also an enormous responsibility for you. Because now that you see how the world works, you can't unsee it. I know someone said that earlier, and it's so true. And I know that you can feel overwhelmed, but don't let that paralyze you. Let it motivate you. You don't have to fix everything, just must keep moving forward. And to do that, you must keep questioning and keep showing up. Whether you're headed into business or advocacy, policy, tech, art, education, media, especially media, you will make an impact simply by refusing to accept that's just how it is. You see how the world works, and you know that that's just how it is often isn't how it is. So share how you see it. Share how the world really works. And remember, you don't need permission to lead. When I started Gotham, I didn't know what it would become. I just knew I wanted to create a space for something that was different. And that different at the time was representing animation talent. Of course, now it's grown into something much bigger. So if you're sitting here today wondering if you're ready to start that company or pitch that idea or go after that job you want, write that piece, run for office, the answer is will it into being. Here's what I always say to the interns and the young people who work for me. Don't look right, don't look left, don't worry about what's happening over there, or that guy's doing this. You're on your own wayfinding journey. Putting it even more simply, as the Navy SEALs say, front, sight, focus. And if you ever need a pep talk, of course, you can call any one of these sociology professors and say, I'm having an identity crisis, but also like structurally, and they'll get it. I want to end by saying a few more serious words. As we sit here right now, there are tanks and planes being featured in a first ever military parade in Washington, D.C. National Guardsmen and Marines stand in uniform down our streets here in Los Angeles. Protesters are rallying in 1,800 towns and cities across the country. That's right. The fabric of our society, yes, what you studied here in this thing called sociology is being stretched and twisted in ways unseen in our history. And you brilliant graduates of the class of 2025 can help, regardless of what side of the debates you're on. In a world where consensus, facts, and truth are hard to find, you are uniquely trained to spot what others ignore. In a world where humans are unwilling or unable to speak with each other, you are uniquely trained to help make it all work. You're exactly what the world needs right now. If you take anything away from today, you're exactly what the world needs now. So go build something. Don't let anything stand in your way. Make art, make change, start a company, join a movement, run for office, write, read, be bold, be brave, question everything. Speak up and speak out. And when you have the mic, use it for good. Will these things, or whatever you want, into being. And if you find yourself having to go against conventional wisdom, or speak your truth to power, or even piss some people off, remember some additional words from John Lewis. Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. UCLA class of 2025 sociology majors, congratulations. Get in good trouble, necessary trouble. Help fix this troubled world of ours. Thank you very much.